from Mote. I'm from South Africa. My name is Tebogo Ditshego. I'm the CEO of Ditshego Media. And I'm very excited to be in Rwanda. I actually landed on Saturday at around 8 in the morning. And the first thing I said was Maramote. Amakuru? Murakoze. Help me here. Nishimye kuza mu Rwanda nziza. And for my brothers and sisters from Kenya and East Africa, habari yako? Mzuri sana. So, I started a company called Ditshego Media in South Africa. And I want us to continue the conversation on social media. You can follow me at Tebogo Ditshego. I know the spelling is a bit different in South Africa. Ditshego is Ditshego. So it's Tebogo Ditshego on social media. I also want us to make YCA 2018 trend. So let's tweet and talk about our experiences here using the hashtag YCA 2018. Now, why I'm excited to be in Rwanda is because where there are challenges, there are opportunities. It's actually the same reason I'm very excited to be from South Africa, because we do have many challenges. Africa as a whole has a lot of challenges. How many of you know what the gross domestic product of Africa combined is? Raise your hands. You don't know? Do you know the gross domestic product of Africa? You don't know? It's $3 trillion, $3.5 trillion. Now, to put that into perspective, the gross domestic product of Germany alone is $3.6 trillion. So that's higher than Africa combined. Now, we may see that as a curse, but I see that as a blessing, because we are not going to be what we were yesterday. I think the future for Africa is very bright. But it starts with us, and I think we should remember what the young man from Nigeria said. There was a young man who was seated over there. And he said that to travel from Nigeria to some African countries is like traveling to the moon. They ask you questions after questions. You apply and you pray that you'll get a visa, and sometimes your prayers are not answered. Traveling from one place to the next as an African should not require prayer. All you need is a passport. And it's good that in East Africa, in some instances, all you need is your ID. And I think we should give a round of applause to Rwanda. Because I landed in Rwanda at 8:15 on Saturday. 8:20, I had crossed the border without no visa. So Rwanda is leading by example in breaking down the borders that are holding Africa back. I have a very special announcement for you. This is the first time that I'm announcing this in public. Ditshego Media is a leading public relations agency in South Africa. And in 2019, we are going to open our first office in Kigali, Rwanda. Now, my journey as an entrepreneur started in Kagiso. Kagiso is a township in South Africa. I don't know if any one of you are from Nyamirambo. Oh, you think I don't know Rwanda, ne? Nyamirambo is similar to Kagiso. So I didn't grow up in an area where we were rich. My family was not rich. My family was not politically connected. We did not grow up in a big household. In fact, in South Africa, we had things called four-roomed houses that we got from the apartheid regime. Now, in a four-roomed house, you've got a dining room, you've got a kitchen, and you have 2 bedrooms, 4. Now, I'm sure you're wondering, where's the toilet? Outside. You have to walk outside to go to the toilet. So that is how I grew up in Kagiso. And growing up in Kagiso was not easy, but what my parents did is they invested in my education. They couldn't afford the education that I had, so at some point, my high school came to repossess the fridge that we had. You can imagine you're in poverty and they're repossessing the last piece of furniture that you have. But that didn't stop me. In high school, one of my teachers said that I have the gift of public speaking, so I should enter the speech competition. So what I decided to do is to enter the speech competition, and after winning a few times in high school, I decided to invest in those natural talents. And I think that is the first lesson that I want to leave with young entrepreneurs. Sometimes people say that you should follow your passion. But I say, follow your talents. Develop a passion for that. Invest in that until you're an expert so that you can make money. So I studied public relations at the University of Johannesburg. Obviously, going out from Kagiso into Johannesburg, my environment changed. I had a better environment. Nutrition was better. My conditions were better. So I could perform much better. I was one of the top in my class, graduated. I did a postgraduate degree. But while I was studying, I was writing articles for newspapers in South Africa. So I was building my network, putting my name out there, and on top of that, I was elected into the Student Representative Council. So the lesson I want you to take from that is invest in your talents through education. Number 2, go the extra mile, because going the extra mile is what differentiates you from your competition. After studying, I went into the industry and I started to work so that I can get experience, so that I can understand the public relations industry. And that helped me because I then understood, okay, this is how you can build the reputation of an organization. Young entrepreneurs, I want you to remember this. A business has tangible and intangible assets. One tangible asset would be your working capital, which I know that a lot of us would struggle to find. And that's why we should commend what was happening here, because it's very difficult to get capital for your business. But there's something that you can start working on now without a huge investment, and that is your intangible assets. Now, one of your greatest assets as an entrepreneur that you can build is credibility. Credibility. So as a public relations specialist, my job is to communicate on behalf of an organization in a strategic fashion that will ensure that I build the reputation of the business, maintain and sustain its credibility. Now, how can you as a young entrepreneur build your credibility? It's simple. If you make a promise, keep it. Don't overpromise and underdeliver. It's better to underpromise and overdeliver. So you're building your credibility. How do you do that? It would depend, but I think generally no matter what industry you're in, you want to be a thought leader. What does that mean? You want to be the go-to person. They ask for advice in a specific industry. So a thought leader is someone who's an expert, but they are ahead of their generation in that they go the extra mile, they're innovative, and they're out there. So they go to you when they need a trusted opinion. So you must be a thought leader. And that goes back to investing in education. But I think it also goes beyond formal education. I think we need to also address the culture of reading books in Africa. Your formal education system will not teach you what you should know. It will teach you how to learn. What you should know is up to you. You must go and do the research. So I think going over and above that, you must know what is happening in your industry, which means you must read and you must do research. And when you do that, you then become an expert and the trusted source for information. Are you with me? Murakoze. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's look at Rwanda. Let's use Rwanda as a source of inspiration. Rwanda, unlike South Africa, may not be rich of natural resources. It may not have had the head start of development in terms of industrialization. But Rwanda has this, the intellectual resource which is unlimited. Let me tell you how. You may not have natural resources, but security is a resource that you developed by yourself. And that's why I said a business has tangible and intangible assets. Intangible assets are limitless. So when Rwanda says, when you come to my country, you can walk at 10 p.m. holding your cell phone. No one is going to do anything to you. That is an intangible asset, security. And that is something that you can build in your business. Intangible asset of being a thought leader, being the one that we can trust for that information. Are you with me? Another intangible asset that Rwanda has is a zero tolerance to corruption and public sector efficiency. So when you want to register a company, it will can take you a few hours to register in Rwanda. But in some other African countries, you'd be lucky if you can register it within 7 days. Now you need to think about that because what I'm talking about is value-added assets, intangible assets. So ask yourself in your business, what can you do to add value to the next client? How can you meet and surpass the expectations of the next client? Think of it in that way. Now, one of the other things that is very important is networking. When you're trying to build your business and you need clients and you need customers, you're going to need a strong network. But what if you don't have a network? What if your family is not connected? Ladies and gentlemen, if that's the case, then you're just like me. You see, when I started Ditego Media in 2011, I didn't have a network. I had an education. I had experience. When I started Ditego Media in 2011, I also did not have capital. In dollars, I had about $800 in my bank account. $800 in 2011. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not going to tell you a fairy tale. Within 4 months of being in business, I already had to start selling my assets. I already had to start renting out my car. And assets, I mean, whatever furniture was in the house, I had to sell it so that the business can run. And the business collapsed, and there's something in South Africa we call unemployment insurance fund. I had to go and apply for that. I had to go back in the industry, get more capital, and come back. Now, why did the business fail? Because we had one email which we sent to all clients. That is one of the biggest mistakes that most organizations make. Because if you're sending one email to each and every client, it means you didn't care to do research about that specific client. One of the reasons our slogan is tailor-made solutions. Tailor-made solutions was how we resolved our business challenges. So what we did is we said we're no longer going to send the same email to every client. Now we are going to do research on you. We're going to research the specific business. We're going to look at the gaps. And then we're going to find out how can we resolve the gaps in our industry, which is the communications business. As soon as we started to do that, we started to see more clients responding. So instead of saying, what can you do for me? The question became, what can I do for you? That might be one of the most important points that I will leave you with today. If you are starting a marketing campaign, understand your target audience. You must understand what they eat. You must understand the radio stations they listen to. You must know their opinions. You must know what they're happy about, what they're not happy about. You must know what they think is cool. You must know who they look up to. Because when you have that information, you will be able to know, how do I communicate to this target audience? So the biggest mistake that Ditego Media would do when we start to do business in Rwanda is to take solutions from South Africa and try to implement them in Rwanda. Rwanda needs Rwandan solutions. And another big mistake that we could make is coming from South Africa to Rwanda and bringing 80% South African employees. The majority of the Ditego Media employees in Rwanda will be people from Rwanda. And it's not a favor. You must know, this is not a favor. It's not doing a favor, I'm doing myself a favor. Because if you work with the people of Rwanda, they understand the market in Rwanda. And therefore your business is more likely to be successful. But if you come with your international arrogance in Rwanda, it will be very difficult for you to penetrate the market. So after failing, I went back into business 2012 with a new approach, tailor-made solutions. We got our first client. We got our second client. 2013, we started to grow. We started to organize World Book Day. 2012, we registered Read a Book SA on Twitter. Everybody should follow it. Read a Book SA is our corporate social investment. It's the biggest online book club on the African continent. In 2014, people started to see that Ditego Media is growing. And on the 6th of February 2014, I was listed as one of the top 30 African entrepreneurs under the age of 30 by Forbes magazine. In 2012, I was invited to the United States of America, and I got a certificate signed by the first African American president of the United States, President Barack Obama. And over the period of time from that success, I've met over 10 presidents across the world, going to different countries, mentoring different entrepreneurs. And this has put us on a level in which we have become thought leaders, not only in South Africa, but throughout the African continent. Now, how is this possible? I think I will leave you with this. Number one, a winner is a loser who is too stubborn to give up. Number 2, persistence will help you get it. Consistency will help you keep it. Number 3, I actually believe that there is no difference between working hard and working smart, because working hard is working smart. We have to be proactive. I also believe that if you're thinking of doing international business, you must believe in the market that you're entering into. That is the passion that's going to pull you when your motivation tries to drag you behind. Number 4, you need to learn how to build a team. And the principles of your team, everybody must abide to. If your team stands for excellence and someone in your company stands for incompetence, they are dragging your team in a different direction. It's either you resolve it or you get rid of the problem. So those are some of the important elements that I've learned as an entrepreneur. And as I prepare to leave the stage, we're going to have an opportunity for 3 questions. I think as African people, we must realize that our time is now. There has never been a better time to be an African than now. Because if you aspire to go to a developed country, there's not much more to develop. But if you're in a developing country, then there's a lot of opportunity for us to develop. We must build a Pan-Africanist culture across the country, across the continent. We must make it easier for people to travel around the continent. And as a South African entrepreneur, yes, I do understand relationships between Rwanda and South Africa have been strained, but I'm here to ensure that I want to lead the way in improving the relationships between Rwanda and South Africa. Let us work together. Murakoze, I want to try that, what I said in the beginning one more time. Maramote. Maramote. Amakuru. Nimeza. Murakoze.
Thank you so much. We can open the floor for a few questions. 3 questions.
Yes, in French or English? My name is Regis. I'm from Benin Republic. I'm here because of you, because you tweet about this event in Twitter, and I saw it. I said I should be here. I need to be here. My question is, how you can know or how you can discover your talent? You talk about the difference between talent and passion. How you can know your talent and how you can follow it. Gracias.
Thank you. I'll answer them one by one. Okay. So, does any of you watch Idols? Do you watch Idols? Have you noticed how you go to Idols and someone, they think they can sing, but they can't? So, I think there are various ways in which you can see your talent. I think one is listen to the people who are giving you feedback. People will tell you if you can sing. They will tell you if you're a good communicator, you're a good writer, or you're good at mathematics. I think a lot of the time, the opportunity is with the teachers at school to find the potential in the child and to harness that potential. But where you don't find that a teacher has told you in school, because I had that benefit, I think you should listen to the people who are around you to say, what are you good at? I think you should know what you're good at. What are your strengths? Sometimes you do want to invest in your weaknesses, but I do believe that you should have a strong focus on investing in your strengths. So I think listen to the people. They will tell you what you're good at.
Thank you. We
question.
have another question over here, behind you.
Okay, thank you. I'm Derek, a student of gender and criminology. So my question is related to gender. So now I want to ask you how many girls and women have benefited from your business? Then the second question is, what's your advice to entrepreneurs who are coming up and those who are in the business? What's your advice to these people who are, yes, starting businesses, but not thinking about empowering women, because it's one of the most problems we are facing? Thank you.
That's a very good question. Now, firstly, in terms of empowerment of women, I can say that fortunately for us, from the advent of the company, every employee of the year since 2014 has been a woman, number one. Number two, our staff ratio in terms of the gender is 80% women, 20% men. Now, 80 to 20 is just a number. I think what's also important we must consider is what is qualitative and what is quantitative. And on a qualitative basis, when you're in a business, you must empower people to take decisions. It shouldn't just be about counting 80 to 10. It should be also about how much power does the 80 have in your business? When they make suggestions, do you listen to them? So I think we've also been able to empower them. I think one piece of advice that I'd like to give to entrepreneurs is learn how to network. People think that when you exchange business cards, you're networking. Having somebody's business card does not make them in your network. Your network is people who you have mutually beneficial relationships with. So when you approach somebody, approach them not with the mentality of asking, what can you do for me? But you must go and say, what can I do for you? And as a young entrepreneur, you may not have the money that you want. You may not have a lot of things to offer this person you want to network with. But a simple thing is saying, wow, your suit looks nice. That's something to offer someone. And they'll want to engage with you. But I think one of the greatest networking tricks that I use, I do research on the people that I'm going to meet. So if you've written an article, I'll go and speak about the article and say, I've read an article about you. You know, you wrote something very interesting. You know why I do that? And it's the way I got the business card of the CEO of Ford Southern Africa. I do that because when you say to someone, I read an article about you, oh wow, your suit looks nice, they become more interested because you're talking about them. And they feel good. And in return, they might also offer you something. So that's how it works.
Good morning. I am Stella Chwanka from Uganda. Right here? Yes. Yes, good morning. I'm Stella Chwanka from Uganda. And I run a company called Margray Consultant Services. Yes, we deal in digital marketing, rapporteuring, and research. So in my question, I'm thinking, I have been doing most of these things alone as a person. And now I feel like I have come to that point where I need other people, because a business only grows if you're able to work with other people. But now, the ability to trust, to delegate, and to actually hire talent. What's your basis? What do you look at? I know different personalities and abilities stand out for different people. So where do we stop? Where do we not cross the line to intermix roles and talent? Thank you.
Stella from Uganda.
Yes, it is.
Very good question. Now, there are very few people who can give you a specific way in which to guarantee this employee is going to do the job well. Very few people. But there are ways that you can guarantee that you'll get it wrong. And I'll start by saying, in your organization, you must have a culture of meritocracy. What I'm saying about meritocracy shouldn't matter whether you're from Nyamirambo or you're from Kigali, it doesn't matter how tall or short you are. If you're the best at the job, you get the job. And that is what I've done. Doesn't matter whether you're a man, you're a woman, you're tall, you're dark, whatever. If you're good at the job and you're better than everybody else, come to Ditsago Media. And I think for you, that is the first thing. So have a competitive process in the interview process. So when you're interviewing people, make sure that it's competitive and hire the best people. And I hope we can take this example and not only apply it to us, throughout the whole continent. It shouldn't be about connections. It should be about your ability to do good. And I think our businesses will do good if we can have a meritocracy. Another thing is, if you find that someone is not doing the job, it's either you relocate them to their talents, or you fix the problem, or you have to let them go. Unfortunately, in a business, we have emotions. And it's very sad to say, yo, I believed in you, but seemingly you don't believe in yourself. I can take you to the water, but I can't make you drink it. So give them a chance. Give them a chance, but at some point, if it's not working, you have to go your separate ways.